September 3, 1989. The Maracana Stadium, Rio de Janeiro. Over 140,000 people packed into the biggest football cathedral on earth. Brazil versus Chile, a World Cup qualifier. And hidden inside the glove of Chile's goalkeeper, taped against the fabric where nobody could see it, was a razor blade. This is the story of the biggest cheating scandal in World Cup qualifying history, and the single photograph that exposed it. His name is Roberto Rojas, nicknamed El Condor. The Condor, one of the best goalkeepers Chile has ever produced. He won league titles with Colo Colorado. He starred in the 1987 Copa America, where Chile finished runners-up. He earned a transfer to São Paulo FC in Brazil. He was not a desperate man. He was not a nobody. And he walked onto the Maracana pitch that night with a razor blade taped inside his glove. Because by kickoff, Chile already had a backup plan. Chile needed to beat Brazil to qualify for the 1990 World Cup in Italy. A draw was not enough. A loss meant elimination. And the match was at the Maracana, in front of a packed Maracana screaming for their team. Chile had not beaten Brazil and Rio in decades. Everyone in the Chilean camp knew the odds were against them. At some point before kickoff, a plan was put in place. Whether Rojas acted alone or others were involved has never been fully established. If Chile was losing and could not turn the match around, Rojas would fake an injury caused by the crowd. A firework, a thrown object, something that would force the referee to abandon the match. Under FIFA rules at the time, if crowd violence made it unsafe for a team to continue, the match could be annulled and replayed at a neutral venue. Chile would get a second chance. All they needed was a moment. The match started. Brazil controlled the game. Careca scored early in the second half to make it 1-0. Chile was losing. The clock reached the 67th minute. Chile were running out of time. And then, from the stands behind Rojas's goal, a 24-year-old Brazilian woman named Rosemary Melo threw a lit flare onto the pitch. It landed near the penalty area, near Rojas, but not on him, not close enough to touch him. It didn't matter. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Rojas dropped to the ground. He clutched his face. Blood began pouring from a cut on his forehead. To everyone watching, to the referee, to the television cameras, it looked like the flare had struck the Chilean goalkeeper in the head. The Chilean players surrounded Rojas. Team captain Fernando Estengo led them off the pitch. The team doctor, Daniel Rodriguez, attended to Rojas and backed the claim. Chile refused to continue playing. The match was abandoned. Chile had what they wanted. A case for the match to be annulled. An injured goalkeeper. Evidence of crowd violence. The entire Chilean delegation demanded a replay at a neutral venue. The story made headlines around the world. Poor Chile, attacked by the Brazilian crowd. Their goalkeeper struck by a firework in front of the home crowd. Except it was a lie. And one photographer had already captured the proof. His name was Ricardo Alfieri, an Argentine photographer working pitchside for a Japanese publication. He had been positioned near the Chilean goal when the flare landed. And unlike most of the other photographers who were focused on the match, Alfieri had his camera pointed at Rojas at the exact moment the firework hit the grass. He pressed the shutter again and again. And the images showed something very clear. The flare had landed roughly 1 meter away from Rojas. It had not touched him. It had not come close to touching him. There was a problem. Alfieri was shooting for a Japanese publication and was required to send his undeveloped film to Tokyo the next morning. But another pitchside photographer, Paulo Teixeira, had also noticed something wrong. He had seen the flare land away from Rojas. He had seen Rojas fall too dramatically, too conveniently. And he knew Alfieri had captured the moment. The photographs were developed. They were published. And they told the truth. The flare had not hit Roberto Rojas. The cut on his forehead was not caused by a firework. It was caused by a razor blade, hidden inside his own glove, pulled across his own skin at the exact moment the flare landed nearby. He had cut himself. Once the photographs surfaced, the story collapsed. FIFA opened a formal investigation. The evidence was overwhelming. Video footage confirmed the flare had landed wide. The photographs, television footage, and FIFA's investigation all pointed to the same conclusion. The wound was consistent with being made by a blade rather than by the flare itself. And eventually, Rojas confessed. FIFA's punishment was brutal. Roberto Rojas received a lifetime ban from professional football. Gone. Everything he had built as a player was destroyed in a single night. Coach Orlando Aravena was banned. Team Dr. Daniel Rodriguez was banned for his role in supporting the deception. Captain Fernando Astengo received a 5-year ban for leading the team off the pitch. Chile was awarded a 2-0 defeat. They were eliminated from the 1990 World Cup, and then FIFA went further. Chile was banned from even entering the 1994 World Cup qualifying campaign. An entire generation of Chilean footballers would never get the chance to play for their country in a World Cup because of what happened that night. 1 razor blade, 2 World Cups lost. And then there is Rosemary Mello, the woman who threw the flare. She had no idea what she had triggered. She was a 24-year-old fan. She threw a firework onto the pitch in a moment of excitement. She had no connection to the Chilean plan. She did not know there was a razor blade in the goalkeeper's glove. But the moment she threw that flare, she gave Rojas the cover he needed. 2 months later, she appeared on the cover of Playboy Brazil. She became famous as the Fogueteira do Maracana, the firecracker thrower of the Maracana. Rojas's lifetime ban was eventually lifted by FIFA in 2001. 12 years later, he never played professionally again. He returned to São Paulo FC as a goalkeeping coach. He spent the rest of his career in the background, quiet, out of the spotlight. In Chile, his nickname created a new word, Condor. It means a grave, foolish, self-inflicted mistake. Named after El Condor. Named after the goalkeeper who had everything, risked everything, and lost everything because of a razor blade hidden in his glove. September 3, 1989. Over 140,000 people watched a goalkeeper fall. Everyone believed what they saw, except one photographer standing in exactly the right place, with his camera pointed in exactly the right direction. One photograph. That is all it took to expose a lie that fooled an entire football stadium and destroyed the legacy of one of Chile's greatest goalkeepers. Subscribe for more forgotten stories from football history.